Guys, Killboy here, and I've had some people asking about, you know, our thoughts on the bike we just picked up. So I thought I'd go over a few things of what I've figured out so far, impressions of it. So first of all, this is a Benelli TNT 135. It's sort of a competitor to the Grom. It's a little bit bigger than the Grom, but it's got some features that give it an advantage. Some things that are kind of cons, I guess. But it's got a 4-valve cylinder head instead of a 2-valve. It's oil cooled, dual spark. Staying closer so they can hear me okay. It's got sort of has like the turn signals are all like these are integrated back here into the back end, so I can turn a couple of them on here. It's got a 4-way hazard, so you can turn on 4 ways. So the turn signals are built into the tail section. The license plate bracket and everything is on this floating rear fender, which I kind of like it. I mean, it's a little bit too big. I'm gonna maybe trim it down some, but I think it's kind of cool. You can take it off and just do a fender eliminator kit. The front end has the LEDs are already on these little slick looking stalks. The turn signals are LEDs. And then the headlights are an LED system with a LED high beam, and the bulb is actually up inside there, and it bounces down onto this reflector right here. The headlights are pretty crap. Honestly, they're LED based, but it's sort of like those LED flashlights and things like that. You know, they're not that great. The high beam is pretty much a pencil beam, and the low beam is spread, but it's not really that bright. So we'll probably be putting some like LED accessory lights on there and wiring them up to the high beam switch. So first impressions, you know, riding at home yesterday through the Dragon and everything, it did pretty good. It was pretty sketchy, and they're brand new tires, and these tires are not anything special. They're sort of a cordial. I'm not sure, some sort of cheap tire, I guess, and they're a little chunky. Probably does okay off-road and on-road to an extent, but we're gonna get some nice Dunlop TT93 grippy stuff from Wheeler's shop there. Brakes are okay. They're still bedding in though, so I think they'll get better. You can see that there's still lines on the brake rotors that are opposite of the rotation, so they're still bedding in. They'll probably get a little bit better. The rear brake has a really strong spring on it to sort of fight you from accidentally locking it up, but you can lock up the rear brake independently. It's fuel injected. The throttle is a little bit herky-jerky on and off the throttle, but it's cool because fuel injection gives you the ability to tune it. It's oil cooled with an oil cooler on the front instead of air cooled like the other bikes. That's kind of nice, you know, especially for longevity of the motor. And it uses an actual oil filter instead of a strainer, and it has a window, a sight window on the side instead of a dipstick like the Grom, and I think the Kawasaki are the same way. What else? So, you know, we went out and we tested top speed. They claim to be like 70 plus miles an hour, but we just did a test with our GPS on the phone, sort of seeing how accurate the speedometer was, and it's pretty far off. So at 60 miles an hour indicated on the speedometer, we were actually going 53 miles an hour. So it's about 7 miles an hour off, showing to the positive on the speedometer. So those videos where people are going like 70, 72 miles an hour, they're probably actually going about 63, 65 miles an hour. So it's pretty quick, but I don't think it'll get far above 70 in stock form. The exhaust pipe goes into a catalytic converter, so there's potential there for more breathing. The air box has probably got some potential in it, and then of course you can tune it with, should be able to tune it with the Power Commander eventually when they come out with their adapter. What else am I missing? It's got a 5-speed gearbox. It feels good, shifts good. That 5th gear is nice. Normally the Grom and the Cowie have a 4-speed gearbox. The exhaust is kind of cool. I like the little twin pipes on the side, and the trellis frame, you know, has that sort of Italian look. This bike is made in China, but it's sort of one of the higher end levels of Chinese finishing, or whatever you want to call it that. So it seems to be nicely finished. Everything is pretty solid. Riding it with Lori on the back, we did a little test ride to just see, because I know there's some bigger guys out there that are wondering, will this work for me? If you don't need to go faster than about 50, 55 most of the time, then you should be okay. Lori and I combined are just under 300 pounds, like 280 pounds. Going uphill and downhill, you could definitely feel the difference that it made on the ability of the bike to maintain speed. Going up pretty decent incline, nothing steep, but you know, not too shallow, it would sometimes start to drop off speed in top gear, and I'd have to drop, especially if I was around 52, 51 miles an hour. It was too slow for top gear, so I'd have to drop a gear, and then it would maintain or maybe start climbing back up in speed a little bit. Going downhill, we could see, you know, indicated 68, 70 miles an hour. Still breaking it in, so I'm not hitting the rev limit or anything yet. But yeah, that's my initial impressions of the thing. It's smooth, fuel injection nice, easy to start, has a little bit of a high rev at the beginning so that you have that sort of warm-up, you know, mode to heat up the catalytic converter, I'm sure. But it rides nice, the seat's comfortable, the position is pretty good. This gas tank piece that sticks out here, I've seen where other people kind of have the same complaint. It's a little bit cramped if you have long legs, which I do. So if my feet are on the balls, on the pegs like I like to ride, then my knees aren't falling into this little cutout here that's designed for your legs. So if I'm riding like this, my knees are sort of banging this corner of this thing here, and I'm not real crazy about that. We may see if we can figure out a way to sort of push these rider pegs back, and I probably won't even need these passenger pegs. Lori may end up getting her own bike, and I don't see needing these. But if I ride with my feet on these passenger pegs, my knees fall right into this space that is cut out for your legs. So if you have short legs, it's probably pretty comfortable, but people with longer legs, this thing could stand to be designed a little bit better. And I don't know if the fuel is actually in this, so they may come out with a design, or other companies may come out with a design that changes the profile of this plastic so that this sharp corner right here is maybe a little less obtrusive, or push forward some more so that people with, you know, regular size or longer than adult legs will fit in there a little bit better. The couple of things that are really cool. Lori, let me know if I'm forgetting anything. Lori's working my camera there. So the key has this cool little Benelli logo on it, and it kind of looks like a knife, and it has a switchblade key, which, you know, all the kids love that. And the fuel cap is sort of a pull-out design, so it doesn't have the hinge on it. You got to keep up with this thing while you're filling it with gas. A little bit goofy, but not too bad. And you just push it back in there, and it locks into place. It's got a little lock for under the seat, but there is no real space under the seat. This is just so that you can get to the fuse area, and this is the snorkel intake for the air box. So there's really not any room here for storing anything. You don't want to put anything down here anyway, because it's going to suck it into the air box. And the rear seat is bolted down, so there's no storage under here either. So the storage is all on you. The finish on this one is the black finish, but it's not really black. It's like a dark gray metallic. It has a lot of flake in it and everything. And they're supposed to have like sticker kits and things that you can change this up and make it look you know, different. But there's not much of an aftermarket right now. The Olin's is working on a shock for it, and you know, all these companies are starting to make things for it, but it's fairly new. It just came out like this year. So right now you're kind of stuck with what it comes with stock, which is not bad. The rear suspension is just a little stiff. The front forks feel good, but the rear could stand to have an adjustable, you know, shock in the back. Olin's supposed to be working on something. So that's about it. Any questions you have in the comments, you know, just let me know. We'll be doing some more follow-ups to it. We're going to work on maybe building it a little bit with Wheeler. He feels like there's a lot of potential there with a 4-valve head, and working on the air box and the exhaust and the tune. You know, he was getting like 14 horsepower out of a Grom with the stock motor, so on his dyno. So we'll see what we can get out of 11 horsepower stock bike, how much more we can get out of this possibly. So stay tuned for that. One more thing, here's a little video clip of us pulling out from a dead stop, accelerating to about indicated 50-55 miles an hour. We're 2 up in this video. Okay.